Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I was in the book of Proverbs this morning, particularly Proverbs chapter 19. And as I was reading through Proverbs 19 and going through different verses, they were like nuggets, nuggets of gold that you find, or the pearls that are of great worth, maybe money you find on the ground that's really valuable. And so as I was reading through Proverbs today, there were several verses that struck me, and I want to share one with you today. But before we go to it, I think it's important for us to understand the book of Proverbs, why it was written. It was written by Solomon, but why did he write it? What was it about? And the very beginning of Proverbs says that the book of Proverbs is to give us wisdom and instruction, understanding, things like insight, instruction on wise dealing. And wise means having things like knowledge and understanding, and then making the right choices with wisdom. Sometimes we do something, well, that wasn't very wise, like speeding in front of a traffic officer, or running a red light, or saying something that you shouldn't. Or if you do something right, you go, wow, that was really wise. So the book of Proverbs was to teach us things like wisdom and guidance. And then it says it goes on to teach us about the fear of the Lord, or the worship of God, the honor of God. And so when we read these nuggets of truth, and that a lot of them are just like that, they're little verses, little nuggets of just sound wisdom, they're really important for us, especially in the days that we live in with all of the challenges that we face. I was talking to someone recently, and they were having a little struggle in their marriage, and there were other things that were going on, and they were a little discouraged. And they said, on top of that, everything that's going on in the world. And so in the world that we live in today, and all of the challenges that are facing us, we really need God's wisdom to give us the guidance, to give us the direction in these difficult times. Now, what you see with God's guidance and God's wisdom is that it's not always, in fact, most of the time, it doesn't even come close to what we see and what the world values and the culture that we're in. So if we go to Proverbs 19 and verse 1, and I would encourage you to go back on your own, I just want to look at it. It says, "Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and a fool." Now that word integrity means to be honest, it means to be moral, but it also means to be whole. It means to be complete. It means to be unified. And so the Bible is saying that it's better off if you have your integrity. And you can look yourself in the mirror and know that what you've done or said is honest. And be poor, the kingdom value, versus maybe you're not a person who walks in integrity. In fact, you're not walking integrity and using those things to better yourself. Maybe you're lying, maybe you're cheating, stealing, anything like that. But we're called as Christ followers to walk in integrity. It's a characteristic of a Christian, is that we should be genuine. In fact, one of the major criticisms about Christianity is that we are dishonest, that we are hypocrites. And so it's important that we walk truthfully and honestly at all times, that we would walk complete. David said, "I will walk with integrity in my house." In other words, when no one is looking, am I still walking honestly? If integrity means that we're unified and complete, then what areas of my life might be fragmented? In other words, I might walk with integrity here, but when it comes to my business dealings, I can be a little shady. Maybe I'll just say that little lie. Maybe I'll just cheat the numbers a little bit to get ahead. You get what I'm getting at. We all struggle with it from time to time. We are called to be people of integrity. God blesses integrity. It causes us to stand out. Now, the world doesn't always bless integrity, but God will. Give an example. Years ago, my wife had a business, and she was working at a house, and in the far reaches of the house, she found a large sum of money that was either forgotten about or lost. And she found that money. Now, she could have kept it. No one ever brought it up. She could have kept it, but she didn't. In fact, she returned this extremely large sum of money. Well, that gave her favor. That people acknowledged that. And word of mouth goes places, and her business picked up, in part because she does a great job, but also because she's a person of integrity, a person of honest moral character, a person who's complete. Like to brag on her. But we're called to be men and women of integrity, and that's in short supply today. Crooked speech. Why don't people trust politicians? Because a lot of times what you hear is crooked speech and foolish decisions and behavior. But it's not just in the political arena, it's everywhere. And so for me, I was challenged in this, in that, what do I value? Would I rather not value the things that the world offers, maybe money, prestige, things like that, power, at the risk of having to sacrifice my integrity? Because God ultimately, at the end of the day, will honor integrity, and truthfully, along the way, he will honor integrity. So my question before you today is this: where do you struggle with being a man or a woman of integrity? Where might you be incomplete in how your character is? What do you like when no one's looking? Where do you, I follow the book in this area, but I fudge a little over here to make things work for me? This is very challenging. Thankfully, we have a God who's forgiving and merciful, and when we discover the error of our way, when we repent and go to him, we not only find forgiveness, but he gives us the ability to walk in integrity. Well, I hope you found this helpful today. I hope that you were blessed by it. If you were, I would invite you to share this as well as hit subscribe. Thanks again for joining me.